What if I told you that some of the fastest ways to calm stress do not come from adding more routines, supplements, or complicated habits? Before life became so busy, people often relied on simple tools that worked with the body instead of against it. Things like cold water on the face, calming scents, or certain breathing patterns were traditionally used to settle the mind and body quickly. Research now suggests that simple inputs like temperature, scent, pressure, and breath may support the nervous system in just minutes. In this video, we are looking at 7 lesser-known remedies that are simple, low cost, and easy to use when stress starts building. You do not need a huge routine to feel more steady. Sometimes the smallest actions can make the biggest difference. Let's start with one of the fastest methods. First, one is cold water face immersion, the hidden reset switch. This is one of the fastest ways to shift how your body feels, and it doesn't require anything complicated. Cold water face immersion is exactly what it sounds like. You expose your face to cold water for a short period, and it can trigger a calming response almost immediately. Long before modern stress tools existed, people were already using water this way. In ancient Rome, public baths weren't just for hygiene. They moved between hot and cold pools to wake up the body and settle the mind. In parts of Europe, hydrotherapy became a common home practice. Splashing cold water on the face in the morning or during moments of overwhelm was seen as a simple way to restore balance. What's interesting is that modern research is starting to explain why this works. Studies suggest that cold exposure on the face may activate what's called the dive reflex. This reflex is linked to the vagus nerve, which plays a key role in calming the nervous system. When it's stimulated, your heart rate can slow down, and your body may shift out of that tense, alert state into something more steady. Now, you don't need to understand all the biology to feel the effect. But in simple terms, your face has nerve pathways that connect directly to your body's calming system. Cold water acts like a signal. It tells your system to pause, regulate, and reset. The active mechanism here isn't a chemical you ingest, it's a physical trigger. The cold temperature interacts with receptors in your skin, especially around the eyes and cheeks. That signal travels inward and encourages your body to adjust things like heart rate and breathing rhythm. If you want to try this, keep it simple. Fill a bowl with cool or mildly cold water. Not ice cold right away, especially if you're new to it. Then gently lower your face into the water for about 10 to 20 seconds. Come up, breathe normally, and repeat a couple of times if it feels comfortable. Another option is even easier. Splash cold water onto your face several times, focusing around the eyes and upper cheeks. You can do this at a sink, no setup needed. A quick note here. If you're sensitive to cold or have certain health conditions, it's better to start gradually. You don't need extreme temperatures to get a benefit. Gentle exposure is often enough. And if anything feels uncomfortable in a sharp or alarming way, just stop. So why did something this simple fade out of everyday use? Part of it is comfort. Cold water isn't always pleasant, especially when we're used to warm showers and climate-controlled environments. And over time, we've leaned more toward passive solutions, reaching for a screen, a drink, or something that distracts us instead of something that directly shifts our physiology. There's also the fact that this method doesn't look impressive. It's not packaged. It's not marketed. It's just water. So it quietly slipped into the background while more complex solutions took center stage. But sometimes, the most effective tools are the ones that feel almost too simple to matter. Think of this like a reset button your body has been carrying all along. It doesn't need charging. It doesn't run out. And when you press it at the right moment, it can bring you back to center faster than you'd expect. Second is lemon balm, the quiet nerve soother. Lemon balm is one of those herbs that doesn't try to overpower your system. It works gently, almost quietly, which is exactly why it's so useful when your mind feels busy and your body won't quite settle. Traditionally, it's been used to ease tension, soften anxious feelings, and bring a sense of calm without making you feel heavy or dull. If you go back to medieval Europe, lemon balm was considered a plant that could lift the spirits. Monks grew it in monastery gardens and used it in simple tonics for the heart and mind. It wasn't seen as something dramatic. It was more like a steady companion, something people reached for when life felt unsettled or overwhelming. What's interesting is how modern research lines up with that traditional use. Studies suggest that lemon balm may support the activity of GABA, a neurotransmitter that helps calm the nervous system. When GABA activity is supported, your brain tends to shift away from that wired, overactive state and towards something more relaxed and balanced. You don't need to think of it in technical terms. Just imagine your mind as a room where every voice is talking at once. Lemon balm may help quiet some of that noise so things feel more manageable. The key compounds in lemon balm include rosmarinic acid and certain natural oils. These compounds are believed to interact with the brain in a way that supports calmness and emotional steadiness. It's not about shutting anything down. It's more about smoothing the edges so your system can regulate itself. One of the easiest ways to use lemon balm is as a tea. You can take about 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried lemon balm leaves, pour hot water over them, and let it steep for around 5 to 10 minutes. The scent alone is calming. It has a light, lemony aroma that feels clean and grounding at the same time. Sip it slowly. That part matters. The act of slowing down, combined with the herb itself, creates a layered effect. You're not just consuming something. You're giving your body a signal that it's okay to ease off. If you prefer, fresh lemon balm leaves can also be gently crushed and added to warm water. That releases the natural oils and makes the experience a bit more aromatic. Now, lemon balm is generally considered mild, but it's still something to use with awareness. Larger amounts may make some people feel a bit drowsy, especially if taken later in the day. If you're already taking medications or have specific health concerns, it's a good idea to check with your provider before making it a regular habit. So why did something this gentle fall out of favor? In a world that values fast and noticeable effects, subtle remedies often get overlooked. Lemon balm doesn't hit you all at once. It doesn't create a dramatic shift that you can't ignore. Instead, it works in the background, gradually helping your system find its natural rhythm again. Over time, stronger, more immediate options took the spotlight, and herbs like this, which require a bit of patience and awareness, became easy to forget. But there's something powerful about that gentleness. It allows your body to participate in the process instead of being pushed in one direction. Think of lemon balm like lowering the volume in a noisy room. You're not trying to shout over the chaos or force everything to stop at once. You're simply turning things down enough so you can finally hear yourself think again. Third one is controlled sigh breathing, the physiological reset. Sometimes the fastest way to calm your body isn't something you add. It's something you release. Controlled sigh breathing is a simple pattern that uses your breath to shift your state in a matter of seconds. Here's how it works. You take a slow inhale through your nose, then a second shorter inhale right on top of it. After that, you let out a long, steady exhale through your mouth. That's one cycle. It looks simple, but the effect can be surprisingly immediate. This kind of breathing isn't new. Variations of it show up in yogic traditions and early mindfulness practices, where breath was used as a direct way to influence the mind and body. People didn't always have time for long routines. They needed something they could do in the moment, and breath was always available. Modern research is starting to explain why this pattern feels so effective. Studies suggest that the double inhale helps open up tiny air sacs in the lungs, allowing for better oxygen exchange. The long exhale then helps release excess carbon dioxide and signals the nervous system to slow down. Together, this creates a shift away from that tight, reactive state and towards something more settled. You can think of it as a built-in mechanism your body already understands. In fact, If you've ever noticed yourself taking a deep sigh after a stressful moment, you've already experienced a version of this. Your body was trying to reset itself. What makes this technique powerful is how intentional it becomes when you repeat it a few times. The inhale fills the system, and that second inhale gently expands it a bit more. Then the long exhale acts like a signal that it's safe to let go. There's no special environment needed. You can do this sitting, standing, or even in the middle of a busy day. Try 3 to 5 rounds. Inhale through your nose, top it off with a second sip of air, then exhale slowly through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop as you breathe out. Keep it relaxed. This isn't about forcing your breath or trying to make it as big as possible. If anything, softer is better. You're guiding your body, not pushing it. A quick note here. If you ever feel lightheaded, just pause and return to normal breathing. There's no need to overdo it. A few gentle cycles are usually enough to notice a shift. So why did something this simple get overlooked? Part of it is that modern breathing advice can become complicated. People are told to follow strict counts, advanced techniques, or long sessions. And while those can be helpful, they can also make it feel like you need the perfect setup to get results. In reality, some of the most effective patterns are the ones your body already knows. They don't need to be learned from scratch. They just need to be remembered. Controlled sigh breathing doesn't require time, tools, or preparation. It meets you exactly where you are, whether you're at your desk, in your car, or lying awake at night. Think of it like releasing pressure from a valve that's been building quietly in the background. You don't need to dismantle the whole system. You just need to open that valve for a moment and let the tension move out. Fourth is clove tea, the warming nervous system support. Clove tea is one of those simple remedies that feels almost too basic to matter, but once you try it, you understand why it's been used for generations. It's made from whole cloves, the same spice you might already have in your kitchen, and it's traditionally used to bring warmth, comfort, and a grounded feeling to the body. When your stress shows up as tension, restlessness, or that cold, unsettled feeling in your chest or stomach, warmth can make a real difference. Clove tea works by gently warming the system from the inside, which may help your body shift out of that tight, reactive state. In traditional Ayurvedic practices, cloves were often used to support digestion and create internal warmth, especially during times of imbalance. In traditional Chinese practices, warming herbs like clove were used to restore flow and comfort when the body felt stuck or cold. These systems didn't separate the mind and body the way we often do today. They understood that when the body feels supported, the mind tends to follow. Modern research gives us a glimpse into why cloves might have this effect. Cloves contain a compound called eugenol, which has been studied for its antioxidant and calming properties. Studies suggest that eugenol may interact with the body in ways that support relaxation and reduce oxidative stress. While it's not a dramatic or instant shift like a stimulant, it creates a steady, comforting effect that builds as you sip. In plain terms, eugenol is one of the natural components that gives cloves their strong aroma and warming sensation. When you drink clove tea, you're not just tasting it. You're experiencing that warmth moving through your system, which can signal your body to soften and slow down. Making clove tea is simple. Take 2 to 3 whole cloves and place them in a cup of hot water. Let them steep for about 10 minutes. You'll notice the water taking on a rich, slightly spicy aroma. Sip it slowly, not all at once. Let the warmth spread gradually. If the flavor feels too strong, you can dilute it with more water or combine it with something mild like a slice of apple or a bit of cinnamon. The goal isn't intensity, it's comfort. A small note here: cloves are potent, even in small amounts. Using too many can make the tea overpowering and may feel a bit harsh on the system. Start light and see how your body responds. And if you're pregnant, on medication, or have specific sensitivities, it's a good idea to check with your provider before using it regularly. So why did something that's accessible get overlooked? Part of it is how we categorize things. Cloves became known as just a kitchen spice, something for flavor, not function. When something is familiar, we tend to underestimate it. We assume that if it were truly powerful, it would be packaged differently or sold as something more specialized. At the same time, modern solutions often focus on quick, noticeable effects. Clove tea doesn't hit you all at once. It invites you to slow down, to sip, to feel. And in a fast-paced world, that kind of quiet support can be easy to miss. But there's a reason it lasted as long as it did in traditional systems. It meets the body in a very human way. Through warmth, through scent, through simple ritual. Think of clove tea like wrapping your nervous system in a warm blanket. It doesn't force anything to change. It just creates the conditions where your body can finally relax on its own. Before we move on, take a second and check in with yourself. Out of the remedies we've covered so far, which one actually feels doable for you today? Not the most impressive one, not the most interesting one, but the one you can realistically try without overthinking it. That's the one that tends to make a difference. If you're finding value in these simple, practical approaches, go ahead and like the video. It helps more people discover this kind of grounded, no-nonsense information. And if you're interested in natural health ideas that are rooted in both tradition and research, consider subscribing. There's a lot more we can explore together. Let's get into the next few, because some of the most overlooked ones are still ahead. Fifth is foot soaking with Epsom salt. Grounding through the body. This is one of the simplest ways to calm your system, and it starts at the lowest point of your body. A warm foot soak with Epsom salt may not sound like much, but it has a way of pulling tension down and out in a way you can actually feel. When stress builds up, it often sits in the upper body, tight shoulders, a heavy chest, a busy head. A foot soak works in the opposite direction. It draws your attention downward and gives your body a signal to settle. This practice goes back a long way. In traditional European homes, soaking the feet in warm water was a common evening ritual, especially after long days of physical work. In many Asian traditions, foot baths were used not just for comfort, but as a way to restore balance and calm the whole system. It wasn't treated as a luxury. It was part of normal care. Modern research gives us some clues about why this feels so effective. Epsom salt is made of magnesium sulfate, and magnesium is often linked to muscle relaxation and nervous system support. Some studies suggest magnesium plays a role in helping the body manage stress responses. Now, whether magnesium is deeply absorbed through the skin is still debated, but even beyond that, the experience itself has clear effects. Warm water increases circulation, relaxes muscles, and signals the body that it's safe to unwind. When you combine that with stillness and quiet, you create a moment where your system can shift gears. There's also something important about the feet themselves. They're packed with nerve endings, and in many traditional systems, they're seen as connected to the rest of the body. When you care for the feet, you're not just addressing one area, you're influencing the whole system. To try this, fill a basin or tub with warm water. Not hot, just comfortably warm. Add about half a cup to 1 cup of Epsom salt and let it dissolve. Then place your feet in the water and sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. You don't need to do anything else. No phone, no distractions if possible. Just let your body settle. You might notice your breathing slow down or your shoulders drop without even trying. Afterward, dry your feet and take a moment before jumping back into activity. That transition matters. It helps carry the calm forward. A quick note here. Make sure the water isn't too hot, especially if you have sensitive skin. And if you have open cuts or wounds on your feet, it's better to wait until those heal before soaking. So why did this fall out of everyday life? Part of it is time. People feel like they don't have 20 minutes to sit still. And compared to scrolling on a phone or turning on a show, it can seem like extra effort. There's also the perception that it's old-fashioned, something our grandparents might have done, but not something that fits into modern routines. But that's exactly where its value is. It asks you to pause, to sit, to reconnect with your body in a very direct way. It doesn't distract you, it brings you back. Think of it like letting tension drain out through the lowest point of your body. Instead of carrying everything in your head and shoulders, you give it somewhere else to go. And sometimes, that simple shift is enough to change how you feel. Sixth is rosemary inhalation, clarity through scent. Sometimes the fastest way to shift your state isn't through what you drink or do, but through what you smell. Rosemary is one of those plants that can gently wake up the mind while still keeping the body calm. It creates a kind of alert calmness that's especially useful when stress feels foggy or overwhelming. The method is simple. You take fresh rosemary, or even dried if that's what you have, and bring it close enough to smell. Crushing it slightly between your fingers helps release the natural oils. Then you take a slow, steady breath in through your nose and let the scent do its work. This practice has deep roots. In ancient Greece, students were known to wear rosemary garlands while studying because it was believed to support memory and focus. In Rome, it was used in ceremonies and daily life to promote clarity and emotional balance. It wasn't just a pleasant smell. It was considered a tool for the mind. Modern research is beginning to support some of these traditional ideas. Studies suggest that the aroma of rosemary may influence cognitive performance, attention, and mood. Certain compounds in rosemary, especially one called 1,8-cineol, are thought to interact with the brain in ways that support alertness while still maintaining a sense of calm. In simple terms, rosemary doesn't push your system into overdrive. It helps clear the mental fog without adding more tension. That's a rare combination, especially when you're already feeling stressed. The active compounds in rosemary are carried through its essential oils. When you inhale the scent, those tiny particles interact with receptors in your nose that are directly connected to areas of the brain involved in memory and emotion. That's why scent can shift how you feel so quickly. It takes a more direct path than many other inputs. To use this, you don't need anything complicated. If you have fresh rosemary, gently rub or crush a small sprig between your fingers and bring it close to your nose. Take a slow inhale, then another if it feels comfortable. You can repeat this a few times throughout the day whenever your mind starts to feel cloudy or tense. If you're using dried rosemary, you can place a small amount in your hand, warm it slightly, and inhale in the same way. The effect may be a bit lighter, but it still works. A small note here. Rosemary has a strong scent. For some people, especially those sensitive to fragrances, too much can feel overwhelming. Start with a light inhale and see how your body responds. You don't need a lot to notice a shift. So why did this simple method fade away? Over time, natural scents like rosemary were replaced by synthetic fragrances. Air fresheners, scented products, and artificial blends became more common, and they often lack the same connection to the body's natural responses. At the same time, we become so used to constant stimulation that we overlook subtle signals. Rosemary doesn't demand your attention, it invites it. And in a noisy world, that kind of quiet support can be easy to miss. But when you pause and take it in, the effect can be surprisingly clear. Think of rosemary like opening a window in a stuffy room inside your mind. The air shifts, things feel lighter, and suddenly there's space to think again. And the last one is hand pressure points, the instant physical feedback. This is one of those methods that feels almost surprising the first time you try it. You use your own hands to calm your body, right in the moment, without needing anything else. Hand pressure points are a simple form of acupressure, where you apply gentle, steady pressure to specific areas to help release tension. The most commonly used point sits in the webbing between your thumb and index finger. If you press into that spot with your opposite thumb, you'll feel a natural tenderness. That's the area people often use when they're trying to settle stress quickly. Practices like this go back thousands of years. In traditional Chinese medicine, the hands were seen as maps of the body, with pathways that connect different systems. Reflexology traditions followed a similar idea, using pressure on the hands and feet to support balance and relaxation. These weren't complicated systems for everyday people. They were practical tools used at home, often passed down through generations. Modern research offers some support for what people have long experienced. Studies suggest that acupressure may help reduce perceived stress and promote relaxation by influencing the nervous system. When you apply steady, intentional pressure, it can send signals through the body that help shift you out of that tight, reactive state. You don't have to understand all the pathways to feel the effect. There's something immediate about physical feedback. When you press into that point, you're giving your body a clear, focused signal. It draws your attention out of your thoughts and into sensation. In simple terms, the pressure may help interrupt the stress loop. Instead of your mind running in circles, your body has something real to respond to. That alone can create space. To try this, use your thumb to press into the webbing between your other hand's thumb and index finger. Apply firm but comfortable pressure. Not sharp, not painful. Hold it for about 20 to 30 seconds while breathing normally. Then release and switch hands. You can also make small circular motions or simply hold steady pressure. Both can work. The key is consistency and awareness, not force. If you want to take it a step further, you can combine this with slow breathing. Press the point as you inhale and soften the pressure slightly as you exhale. That rhythm can deepen the calming effect. A quick note here. More pressure doesn't mean more benefit. If it starts to hurt, you're pushing too hard. This should feel grounding, not uncomfortable. And if you have any injuries or sensitivity in your hands, just work around those areas or skip it altogether. So why don't more people use this? Part of it is that it requires intention. You have to stop for a moment, notice how you feel, and choose to do something about it. In a world built around passive consumption, that small step can feel like effort. There's also no product involved. Nothing to buy, nothing to advertise. It's just you and your body. And because of that, it tends to stay under the radar. But that's exactly what makes it powerful. It's always available. You don't need the right environment or the perfect timing. You can use it in the middle of a busy day, in a quiet moment, or whenever you feel that tension starting to build. Think of it like finding a hidden switch that softens your entire system. It's small, almost unnoticeable from the outside, but once you know where it is, you can use it whenever you need to bring yourself back. Stress relief does not always come from doing more. Often, it comes from working with your body instead of overpowering it. Simple things like cold water, breath, scent, warmth, and touch are signals your body already understands. You do not need all of them. Pick one or two that feel natural and pay attention to how your body responds. Consistency matters more than intensity. If this helped, like the video, subscribe for more grounded ideas, and share it with someone who has been feeling overwhelmed. I'll see you in the next one. Just a quick note before you go. The remedies we talked about here are traditionally used to support relaxation and general well-being. They're simple tools that may help your body settle, but they're not one size fits all. Everyone responds a little differently. What feels calming and effective for one person might feel neutral or even uncomfortable for someone else. That's why it's important to pay attention to your own body and adjust as needed. Some of these approaches, especially herbs or strong sensory methods, may not be suitable for everyone. If you're sensitive to certain smells, temperatures, or ingredients, it's best to start gently and see how you respond. And if you're pregnant, taking medication, or managing a health condition, it's a good idea to check with a qualified healthcare provider before trying something new. The goal here is thoughtful use, not overuse. Keep it simple, stay aware, and use what feels supportive for you. If you have ongoing concerns about stress or how you're feeling, reaching out to a professional can always be a helpful next step.